I believe in Brava, welcoming all Brava babies. I believe. This one looks funny. I think it might not have been live there. I believe in Brava. I believe in Brava. All right. Welcoming all Brava babies. Thank you for having me, Alice.
I'm so glad that you were able to make it. This is going to be so much fun.
I only got one speeding ticket on the way up.
Hey, you're doing good. This is Nevada. People usually just start checking off things as they go.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, I just have to say, I said this to my live people just moments ago. I have to take this off because I'm so nervous. I feel like I am a male version on my first encounter with you.
Oh,
you're
like worries.
You're a star in my eyes.
Oh.
So this is Alice Little. She is the highest paid legal sex worker in the country.
I am. Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to meet you all.
So I have a million questions. First of all, I wanted to start with your origin story. So how did you come here to the Bunny Ranch? Where did you begin? Where are you now? Yes, share with our Bravo babies.
Yes. So I started my journey as a sex educator. I was very lucky to not grow up with a very stigmatized family. We were always very open and willing to talk about sex and intimacy. And so one of my first jobs was managing the front desk of a BDSM dungeon in New York City.
Amazing.
I was responsible for doing the scheduling, setting up the teaching.
Were you nervous as a young girl?
Oh, no, not at all.
You were
I was counting down the days for that job to start. I'm like, let's do this.
Amazing.
I was so eager. And it was through that space that I started my journey as a sex educator.
Yeah.
I was traveling around the country to different events, working with men, women, couples, thruples, and more sums.
Yes.
Just helping with different kink, intimacy topics, communication, how to negotiate polyamorous relationships, things of that nature. And through that space, I came across another educator who made me aware of the Moonlight Bunny Ranch and the associated brothels.
Yes.
Of course, I'm like, oh, that sounds like me. I'm in.
Yes.
So I applied online and had purchased a plane ticket within 72 hours.
That's right. When you feel it,
way.
You know what? That is it. When you feel it, you know it, and it's happening, right? When I decided that I was going to be a cult leader, it wasn't even a choice. It just happened.
Yep.
But my darling, so a lot of us, I still manage shame. I do crazy shit with my Bravo babies and everyone knows it. But I'm also I still manage this little shame bubble that comes up. It seems like you are we're born into this world like a liberated fairy. Do you ever manage your own issues around that? Have you had a journey through shame or through cultural norms?
A little bit. It wasn't so much in shaming myself so much as it was my perception of how people would receive me, respond to me.
Yes.
And I would kind of place forward judgment where I'd be like, oh no, I have to be very careful about this. They might react in a terrible way.
Yes.
And these days I don't even forewarn people. I just jump right into it. I'm like, hi, yeah, you're my dentist. Also, here's what I do for a living.
Amazing.
FYI.
Amazing. And do you feel like your clarity, your goodness around what you do and who you are, and you're 100% feeling so good about it just changes the way that they receive you?
100%. When you expect people to be on the attack and you are instantly putting up these walls and these barriers and trying to prevent any negativity from coming through, you come off in such a way that people end up treating you differently.
Yes.
It's almost like if you go into a situation expecting the worst to happen, that's what you're going to get out of it.
Yes.
Whereas if you go into a situation with no judgment, no stigma, no shame, and just let it happen in whatever way it's going to, you open up the availability for people to really let loose and kind of start to explore themselves too.
Yes. And that's the thing. I feel like when I listen to you speak about the work that you do, you really do frame it as a healing, of caring. You say a caring profession, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you're working with someone, say that okay, I come in the room, I'm 80 years old and I've never had sex before for whatever reason. Oh, it's hard. I have arthritis now, but I really wanted to have my first experience.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do? Because my experience is when I bring people into my community, oftentimes I'll be hyper rebirthing them, but I can feel they're holding back. How do you make a man or a woman for that matter feel comfortable and like not sort of take on their discomfort.
Yes. So oftentimes it's pushing through the initial few moments of uncomfortability and making space for that to happen. It's only natural. The first time that you are intimate with somebody, when you're kissing them, touching them, holding them, they're going to be like, oh, I don't know how I feel about this.
Yes.
And you work past that barrier. And literally after about 5 minutes, people are like, oh, yeah, I was supposed to be nervous.
I love it. Oh my God, I love it. I can already feel myself just being like, I feel free in this room, in this space. So, my darling, another question that I have that comes up around that idea of like working through that like initial discomfort for yourself. Like, I've heard you say like you'll try things. There are some things you know you're not going to do.
Yes. Oh,
How do you navigate like in the moment or in thinking about what is a hard no and what is a maybe I'm just scared and what's the line there for all of us as we work through our own like sexual desires, wants, needs, all that.
Well, you have to determine where is the hesitancy coming from. Is this coming from a place of, wow, boundaries that are very, very firm that I'm not interested in testing, versus this is simply undiscovered territory. I've never explored kink or fetish or anything of this sort, and I'm afraid of the unknown. Once you identify as it a fear of the unknown versus a actual testing of boundaries, it becomes very easy to delineate, is this something I'm interested in trying, or is this something that's not beneficial to me, not a good fit for me,
Yes.
and I should probably go ahead and pass?
Yeah, so I'm going to say that you must have a strong personal connection to yourself. Which
yes.
I don't approve of my brow babies. My brow babies are only allowed to be connected to Talia, not to themselves. I don't like them having their own opinions. But it does sound like you're able to check in with yourself. So what are your practices on a day-to-day basis to help you recenter, check in with what Alice wants and needs?
Well, it's really about building your own happiness as the central priority in your life. You've got to, you, the individual, have to be the thing that comes first in your own life, because nobody else is ever going to prioritize your needs, wants, and desires if you don't do so first.
Yes.
So when I wake up in the morning, I don't like to rush out of bed. I'll like set one alarm and then a second alarm 30 minutes later, so I have time to kind of just wake up nice and slowly but surely turn the lights on, kind of just take a few deep breaths and start the moment off with a moment of peace, instead of starting the morning off with like the hecticness of, oh God, gotta get out of bed, gotta rush. Because when you start your day off with that kind of rushed, frantic energy, it sets the stage for the rest of your day to be just as hectic.
And you're giving your power away. That's why I say the only time is what Talia feels like. I don't look at clocks. I just think, what does Talia feel like? But you are immediately giving your power up rather than owning it for yourself. And I think that translates into every decision you make for the rest of the day.
100%. So I always start my day off on a good positive note. And if I'm just not feeling it, I'll give myself a few extra moments to just recenter, refocus, and kind of prioritize, what am I trying to accomplish today? What are my goals? What are the things I want to do? What am I going to do to make myself feel happiness? Am I going horseback riding? Am I going to the gym? Am I going to go look at Groupon and pick a random activity and go, yeah, I've never thrown axes before. Oh, yeah, I'm going to try that. That looks cool.
Can I come?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh my God, I want a Groupon axe throw. So I think that this is speaking to a really important point, that in order to be that resource, to be that person that people come to for like a moment that might change their life, like you have to be full. And that's why I say that my job is to care for the vessel of Brava, Talia Brava. But you have to be full. You have to be lit up to be in service the way that you are.
Because you figure that if you're not taking care of your needs, your wants, your desires, you don't have any energy to give to anybody else. And for me, I've always used the metaphor of you can't pour from an empty tea kettle. You've got to make sure that you have those energy reserves. So this way you are able to then share yourself with others and help them discover what their wants are, what their needs are. Yes. How do they function as an intimate human?
Yes. And when you see the majority of, like, let's say your male clients who come to you, what is a psychological need that you feel like they're not getting fulfilled anywhere else that you can help fulfill in them?
Touch, hands down.
Yeah.
Men in our society are so touch starved, it is horrifying. Mostly because of homophobia. Men, they don't touch, they don't hug, they don't embrace each other. And because of that, we have a lot of touch starved men. And I always go back to the fact that babies have a genuine need for touch. If they're not held, caressed, they fail to thrive. Even if they're given food and water and have their basic needs met, without touch, without connection, babies don't grow. They'll literally wither and die.
Yes.
So if it's true for babies, why would it be any different from adults?
Yes. I love that. That's beautiful. And there's so much that's spoken in the unspoken, which is why I say you all have to come to my live event Wednesday night. In the unspoken, in the visceral connection. So speaking of the mental though, you're like a very learned woman. You're a book collector and you have multiple degrees, psychology, anatomy.
Sociology, physiology, and anatomy.
Okay. So when you think about like the hybrid of your interests, how do you feel like, what do you feel like your work, like specifically, like bringing in all your interests into this sphere, like how do you bring all those different interests into this work?
I would say, by and large, it's the understanding of how people are. Specifically within the intimate space and what that looks like from both the sociological lens in terms of what kind of morals were they raised with, what kind of societal pressures are they experiencing, as well as the personal side, which really comes from my psychology background, which is what kind of personal values have they made for themselves, what experiences have they had that have now shaped them as a sexual being. And of course, physiology and anatomy is simply understanding how the body moves, functions, and is interconnected. Which is really wonderful when I'm working with guests that have disabilities or various limitations, either due to age or injury, whatever it so may be, that I can then help and adapt them and find positions that not only feel good sexually, but aren't going to cause them any physical pain too.
Yeah. I feel like there's such a beauty in the work that you do because you are moving through judgments that we all have. And I've heard you say, like, I don't care if you're obese or you have a skin rash. I want to know you. Me, Talia Brava, I'm super superficial and I judge men completely by how they look. So I want to ask you, like, how do you move through judgment and how do you open that space to be that non-judgmental person, to see the soul?
Well, for me, my very, very baseline attraction isn't based on the physical at all. It all has to do with what's in your heart and what's in your mind. And you figure everything on the outside is ephemeral. It changes as we age, as we grow, as life happens. We gain weight, we lose weight, we gain new scars. All sorts of things are going to happen that are inevitable, but you don't stop being the same person that you are. It's the recognition of who somebody is in this exact moment, in this second. They're perfect just the way they are. There's no need to change. There's no need to stigmatize or judge. It's almost a radical level of self-acceptance. And my goal very much so is to not only make them feel accepted, but also teach somebody how can they accept themselves? How can you touch your body? How do you identify what brings you pleasure? Where do you enjoy being touched? Where do you enjoy being kissed? What are you looking to experience? And helping somebody translate that into words, I think, is really important. It's
so beautiful because I feel like you're helping people claim themselves. And so when you look at women, and you've talked about how women, a lot of us have not had orgasms. Talia Brava, I have never had an orgasm. I'm cosmosexual, so when I do orgasm, a new multiverse will be birthed, and we will rapture. Rapture is November 3rd, 2020, but the moment I orgasm, could it be today? Could happen. Real rapture. So what do you think is like something that what would you say to a woman who feels like they're not in touch with their sexuality, or they have trouble like me, like getting off?
Make love to your body. And that's not just like touching yourself. That's literally touching your neck, taking the time to actually like reconnect with your body. Like, how does it feel when your fingertips are over your ears? Do you like having your ears pinched? Do you prefer a light touch more? What feels pleasurable? What kind of sensations can you create? Like, ooh, if I bring my fingertips across the back of my neck, oh my gosh, am I having like goosebumps? What kind of visceral physical reaction am I experiencing just by the magic of my own fingertips?
Yeah, I love that.
And when you slow down and actually take time to explore your body, your inner thigh, your legs, behind the kneecap, all these different spots that oftentimes go untouched, it kind of grounds you more deeply and connects you to your body. So this way, you have a better understanding too of what your body's needs and desires are.
Oh, Alice, you have just lifted so much shame off of my human psychology body, on every level, like already. So when you need your inspiration and you need like the guru to look to? I know you are, after today, now that we've met, going to watch exclusively Talia Brava content on Talia Brava's Instagram channel. But whom do you look to now for your guidance, your gurus? Who do you look to?
Oh goodness, I'm a tremendous fan of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. That woman is such a powerhouse. I love her. I love what she's doing. She puts herself out there again and again and isn't afraid to challenge herself. I look to her. I look to other powerful female CEOs, creators of companies that have taken a mission and then ran with it full steam.
Yes.
Like, there's so many different folks within this space that I just kind of draw inspiration from. And it's not just limited to like actual people, but I also like to draw inspiration from different TV characters too. Like, I definitely have been feeling a Yennefer vibe these days for those who have binged The Witcher on Netflix.
They're not allowed to watch anything but TV content.
I see.
But you could cheat day. Just today, I'll go watch it.
Yeah, Yennefer is a really powerful female sorceress within the Witcher series, and man, she's got it going on. She's got just a real what you would expect that character to be, and I'm like, yes, I appreciate that.
I love it. So they say the future is female. What would you say the future is?
The future isn't just female. The future is for you to decide. It's personal. It's intimate. You get to decide what the meaning of life is. Because there is no right or wrong way to live your life, but what's the best way for you individually to live your life?
Yeah, I love that. What do you feel like your time here on Earth is for?
Oh, goodness. I would say my time here on Earth is a combination of education and inspiration. I want to share people. I want to learn from them, and then I want to share my own learnings with them too, things that I've gained throughout my life experience, as well as inspire people to try new things, put themselves out there. Like, whatever that thing is that you're not doing, that you're hesitating on, just do it. Like, remove all judgment. It's okay to fail. In fact, like, every single person, when they do something new for the first time, fails. 100%.
Elon Musk makes mistakes. He makes a lot of mistakes.
He does make a lot of mistakes. And that's okay.
That's okay. That's how we learn. That's how we grow. So, as you probably know, as all my Brava babies know, I am running a virtual sex cult, and my big ambition is to become profitable pre-Rapture Day, November 3rd, 2020. Let's talk money, because this bitch is good on currency. You're making it, and yet you say, you know what? It's not a get-rich-quick scheme. This whole game is not a get-rich-quick scheme. The only get-rich-quick scheme is becoming a Brava baby. You're gonna get rich quick, I promise. So my darling, when you look at this work that you've done and you have made it very profitable, but it was never your intention, it is not your intention. Like the money is not the first thing.
No, it's like the bottom of the run for me. It's serving people is the priority.
All right. So what would you say to me as someone who is trying to make a lot of money at many cults and currently is not? What would you say is your best advice to a female entrepreneur trying to run a ritual sex cult with no sex or no money?
I would say externalize. Rather than focusing on what it is you're looking to get out of the experience, draw from those you're connecting with and find out, what are they looking to get? Okay. What kind of value are they needing in their lives? What things are missing? And find ways that you're able to help them achieve those specific things. Okay. And then when you build your message and your entire business, not on yourself, but around serving others, around enabling their success and that externalization, where you feel compersion every time they have a success or a breakthrough, that's where success lies. It relies on the relationship building.
Okay. All right, great. I get it. Just stop thinking about myself.
I'm sorry.
What if you're a sociopathic narcissist? But what I do offer is devotion. The opportunity to devote. And I found that that's my king. Is being devoted.
Hey now. There's no wrong kinks out there.
Have you ever had a session where someone discovered their kink for the first time?
Oh God, all the time.
Okay, what was a big aha moment for a client?
Oh my goodness. So I had a fellow who wanted to give me a full body massage, and he's literally doing from head to toes, and he gets down to my feet, and he's working on my feet, and he pauses all of a sudden, and he goes, I've got a boner. Oh my God, I think I'm like, hey, that's super normal. Foot fetishes are like really not a big deal.
Yeah.
They're super common. They're amongst the top 3 male fetishes and fantasies.
Yeah.
So I'm like, great, you can keep rubbing my feet. That feels wonderful. Like, I'm enjoying this just as much
I'm
as
sure,
you are. Like,
I'm sure you can take this one home, and whoever you're with at home is gonna love this too.
yeah, it's like, don't judge yourself. Like, you find something and it turns you on, great, run with it. So long as it's safe, and consensual, by all means.
And there's
explore.
nothing like sticking your feet in someone's face when they don't like it. I had that with an ex-boyfriend.
Ooh, now that can be fun, like in the humiliation space, where somebody's wanting humiliation or degradation, and they're wanting to explore some of, like, I kind of call it like the dark side or shadow side of sexuality, where you're exploring these darker, deeper narratives that probably aren't a part of your vanilla everyday sex life, but by all means, they have a space too. They're just as equally valid. And fun fact, having fetishes is normal. What's not normal is not having fetishes.
And you probably just haven't discovered what they are. Because all of
bingo, right on the nose, right there.
Specificity, right? That's all that is.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I would you agree that repression is like a root of a lot of illness and disease and dis-ease in people?
I would say that it ends up taking away energy from more productive things.
Ooh, that's
and when you divert your energy, where you're focusing all your effort and energy on whatever the negative thing is, whether it be judgment of self, hatred of self, you take away the potentiality for your energy to be used in more effective ways. And that inevitably is going to have a trickle-down effect. And it's really hard to say exactly how it affects someone because it is so personal and individualized.
Yes.
But, like, to give you a good example here, somebody who's very focused on, I don't know, let's say what they're eating.
Yeah.
We'll just use food as a concept here, where you're measuring and weighing, and you're checking, and you're like obsessing over this, and you're spending hours and hours and hours.
Yeah.
What else could you be doing with that time? What else could you be doing with that mental resource?
And women, I feel like it's a feminist cause to put our energy out into the world. So the more shame that women feel about their bodies, their looks, booze, you're not out there making moves, right?
It's true, and I'll tell you right now, nobody cares.
Nope.
Nobody is judging you. Nobody is looking at you and going, ooh, your right little eye wing is off center compared to your left. Like, no one is judging you with the same micro lens that you're judging yourself.
The only one they're micro lensing is the idol, the pop icon of the next generation, like Brava.
There you go.
But everyone else, you're free. So I'm gonna check my notes because there are some things I wanted to ask you. I never write notes except like I really respect you.
Aww.
And I really respect your time. Oh yeah. So in terms of like feeling a psychological safety, like do you ever feel like maybe somebody, like a client comes in, they unpack their whole like world, or like they have like some darkness or whatever, and they're free in your session to let it out. What do you do to sort of like cleanse off, like keep yourself, hold on to you?
Well, I only see one guest each day for that very reason, is because I want to have the resource and energy to be able to help them accomplish whatever it so may be and not feel completely drained at the end of it. I don't think it's any one individual thing that I do so much as it's a series of small things. It's eating healthy, working out, getting enough sleep. And those small little things over time become habit. And when something becomes habit, it becomes part of your routine. And then that becomes your new baseline normal. So I always make sure I have an abundancy of resource to be able to help people through whatever it might be that comes through the door.
And that's just boundaries. Do you find yourself as like a mentor to like young women who walk in the door and like start working here?
Oh God, all the time, constantly.
I imagine you have like a little like circle around you.
It can happen at times. Oftentimes the girls will be texting me back and forth questions. They'll send me emails. Oh, what do I do with this? How do I respond to that? And I'm like, okay, deep breath here. First off, you've got to calm down, because there's a certain level of franticness oftentimes that comes where we wait to ask for help until we're like completely frantic and don't know what to do. So the very first thing I like to do is bring the energy down. Let's take a deep breath here. This is not life or death we're talking about. This is an email, okay?
That's good.
And now let's actually dissect this together. Let's read what the message is and then process it. Kind of, okay, what is this person asking about? What are they looking for within this experience? And how do you relate to what it is they're looking for? Now, how do you use your words, or in this case, the written language, to then communicate to somebody how you're going to be able to help them, guide them, work with them, or even just enjoy an experience with them, which is just as valid.
And this is so real because I feel like the things that come up, I'm sure, are the most triggering things for young women. Like someone's asking and they have to say no to something, or like money can be triggering, or just sexuality in general. So taking the trigger out, getting objective, that's like a great life lesson.
Yeah, and anytime you're feeling like that pressure where you're like, oh my God, something's really bothering me, stop and name it. Like put words to whatever it is that you feel like is starting to get in the way, because once you take the time to identify like, oh, I'm feeling uncomfortable about saying no to this thing because I don't know how to say no to anything.
Yes.
Wow, let me go ahead and identify that and make a note of it as something that I can start working on internally.
So
this way you grow as a person.
So you and Tim Ferriss definitely gonna hit you two. I feel like they're a perfect match.
Yeah, it was a really fun conversation. I really enjoyed that with him.
And just between us, no one's listening. 1 to 10 in real life, what's a sex appeal?
Ooh, I don't know. I don't like to judge people through that lens. I mean,
I'm the judger.
I've never been a judgy person, because I feel like there's so much judgment in society and so much self-judgment that I want to be like the last person that's ever placing judgments on others. It's like,
yeah, you're living your mission.
Cool.
You're really living your mission. I feel it. It's true. And I can tell if I'm like in person, I can feel it. So I'm gonna steal, he says click, what would it say? The only thing you could say, the whole world will hear it.
Oh, sex work has been around since the dawn of time. This is nothing new. Stop stigmatizing and shaming it. This is essential and needed, just like medical care. It's essential. Like, if we have doctors take care of our physical needs, sex workers take care of our sexual needs.
I love it. That's awesome. And you've become an advocate in recent years. And
100%. I put myself out there every single day.
Yes. And what was that? Was that a hurdle or a shifting in perspective when you realized I need to speak out and support those who can't speak out because they're not legal, or for whatever reason they're like disenfranchised right now? What was the switch for you to become a public person with this?
I would say the exact moment in which I realized it's my job to stand up and speak out was when a small local religious group tried to criminalize the local brothel system here in Lyon County. I took it upon myself to organize a series of community meet and greet events where myself and several coworkers went out into the community, introduced ourselves, answered questions, and shared our truth with everyone.
Amazing.
In 50 years, that had never happened before in Lyon County.
Wow.
I literally at one point penned a letter, put my name on it, put my face on it, and sent it out to every single house in Lyon County.
Amazing.
To make myself and my message known. And
that's revolutionary.
Yeah. The end result is that we won the vote to protect the legal brothels by 83%.
Amazing.
It was
a
landslide victory. Like, I'm hella proud of that one.
That's so fucking amazing, because you're putting a face and a story, and that's what Mr. Rogers says, that there's no one that you would love if you didn't hear those stories.
It's really true. It really is true. And once you make the space and create it to be able to tell your truth, and do so in a way where you're not being held back and you're not waiting for somebody to judge you or be negative towards you, and you're just allowing that to happen, magic happens.
That's beautiful. So I got one question from a Brava baby. They're very shy to ask questions, but one of my Brava baby asked, as a male-identified, cisgender or non-cisgender, but male-identified person in the world who doesn't necessarily want to go to a sex worker but wants to support sex workers, what would you recommend?
Anytime you hear your friends talking negatively about sex workers, use it as a teaching opportunity. Ask them, why are you saying that about strippers, about sex workers? Why would you choose to framework them in that way? Question them, dig deep and try to find out where the origin of that stigma comes from, and then share with them educational resources and let them know, hey, actually, that's not quite how it works. It's really radically different from that, and you're actually furthering endangering sex workers by pushing these stigmatizations
So change
forward.
the conversation.
100%.
Yeah, let's get out of that locker room. The proverbial locker room is over, and let's change that vibe.
It's 2020. We've got to update the way that we frame sex and intimacy and stop being like, ooh, shame, that's a bad word. Like, no, it's a body part, not a bad word. Knock it off.
Yeah. I also feel like I've had this recent aha about the fact that like the most feminist thing we can do as women is hold the power of our sexuality. It is obviously deeply threatening to the patriarchy. Otherwise, we would have been able to share it always.
This is true. That's really true.
So it feels really awesome to realize, like, yeah, the teenager in me who wanted to show her body off and then felt like, oh, now I'm being bad. No, she was not wrong, and I can reclaim that part of myself that loves
100%.
owning it. It's so
Yeah,
fun.
there's nothing wrong with doing things that make you feel sexy, that make you feel empowered. By all means, own your truth. If you are the type of person that wants to hang out in your PJs and that's how you feel comfortable, own it. If you're the kind of person that wants to walk around your house naked, own it.
Mm-hmm. So I want to get personal. How do you balance your private life, like say having a boyfriend or girlfriend, with this work? Do you feel like, does this work sort of take over that sphere and your needs are met there? What's going on there?
It's kind of hard for me to say because I'm single.
Yes.
I haven't really put myself out there in a dating capacity because of my job. I feel like I'm already in so many relationships with so many people that I don't feel the need to go out there and be in a relationship with another person.
Yeah.
So instead, the way that I've always framework it is that I'm in a relationship with myself and that I've got a duty to me first to take care of my needs, my wants, my desires, sexually, personally, whatever it so might be.
Yes. Yeah, I love that so much. It's so liberating because I also identify like I am like, I've just never been fulfilled, you guys, and we're rapturing, but I have all these Brava babies who love me, and I do feel very fulfilled. And also I feel like, the eye of the camera is my boyfriend.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. It's up to you to determine and find what your relationships are, what they look like, what the limits and boundaries are within those spaces. Mm-hmm. Oftentimes I use the therapeutic model of bounded intimacy to really describe what it is that we do within this space. All the emotionality, the feelings and connection are genuine within this time, within this space that we've so agreed upon.
Yes. Okay, so what does the future hold for Alice? Like, if you were to just snap your fingers and see, like, 10 years from now, this is the dream, what would that look like?
Coast-to-coast brothels.
And you're running them.
Absolutely, but they wouldn't be run in necessarily the same fashion that they are in Nevada. I would want to update them and run them more like co-ops. Okay, this way, each of the women aren't just working within that space, or I should say women, men, trans individuals, because that would be another dramatic change. Is open it up to everyone, because right now there is no legal workspace for trans individuals and men. There's nothing. There is no legal space for them.
It's only women are allowed.
Bingo. Which is really, really unfortunate because there absolutely is a tremendous community of individuals that work within all of these different community spaces, and they're just as valid as I am.
It really is lunacy. The laws that we have around sex just reflect the lunacy in the individuals, the repression, the lack of understanding, how are you gonna say we're pro-sex in 2020? That's the only reason we're here is because of sex.
Fun fact, somebody had sex and they conceived you.
And now it's radical pro-sex.
It's kind of bizarre. It's really, really bizarre. I'm sorry. People are having sex. Animals are having sex. Yeah. Sex happens. Yeah. It's normal. It's natural. It's literally a part of our biological and genetic code is to want to go out and find a partner and do the thing with the partner. Yes. That's normal and healthy.
Yes. And the repression is the cause of the illness and the disease and all the ugliness that we see around sexuality is all from the repression.
Mm-hmm. Repression, fear, stigma, and shame.
Yeah. Okay, so 2020, politically and personally, what are your hopes for this big year that we have?
Well, I usually try not to go too deep into politics.
I get it. I'm not political either. Just
personally, I'm hoping to see the expansion of available legal as well as decriminalized sex. I've heard a number of different states are making tremendous strides forward. Vermont has put out proposals. New York has put out proposals. Washington, D.C. has put out proposals, both to decriminalize as well as legalize sex. And I want to empower those states to really step forward into the 21st century and make history as the first state to legalize it at a state level. Because not everybody realizes this, but legal prostitution only exists at a county by county level here in Nevada. Like,
Wow.
it's not legal in Las Vegas at all in any capacity. That county has put a giant kibosh on the whole thing.
And that's why it's such a safe and welcoming place to be a woman.
Oh, gee. Yeah, and it's completely ridiculous because you go to Vegas and people are literally handing you the little flyers for services. So clearly it's happening.
Yes.
We might as well destigmatize it, decriminalize it, and create a space in which allows for people to do it in the most optimal way possible.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's great. I love your mission. Let me see if I have any other questions for you. Well, when you think about like, because a lot of the work I do with my Brava babies is help them like rediscover the Brava baby inside them and like that innocence, that wide-eyed, that openness. When you look at little Alice, like the little girl that you once were,
The littler.
the little girl, what would she want for you, and what would you want to say to her?
Oh my gosh, when I was younger, all I wanted to do was live in a horse barn. That's it. My whole life like revolved around horses, and it still kind of does.
I know you have 2 horses, right?
I do. I have a little Welsh pony named Merlin
Oh my
and a
gosh.
coming 2-year-old named Nimue.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so little Alice's desires, or littler Alice's desires to have her life surrounded by horses. Yeah, it's still managed to hold true.
I love that. And yeah, what would you say to her that you know now that you'd like her to know?
Do it. Whatever it is, do it. There was a lot of hesitancy when I was younger. Okay, I'm gonna get really real here. I was painfully shy. Like, I was the kid that would like be holding standing in front of the class and like sweat through the paper because I'd be so freaked out and anxious and nervous about speaking. I had this like little tiny high-pitched voice because I was like afraid to project out words, and it was just like this little weak tiny little thing. It just now I own that. Like, no, I like found myself.
And no wonder you're able to work with people who do suffer from like being afraid to put themselves out there.
Oh God, that's me.
It's like
that's
your message,
me.
your mission, like whatever it is that you've worked through, you can help with. And then the other thing, my darling, you're definitely coming with us for Rapture. I mean, that's
sounds like a lot of fun. I'm here for it.
2020. We just gotta get lit. That's why I personally am supporting Bernie, because everyone's most lit for him, and it's the only one the next gen fucks with, and I'm of the next gen. Like, my Bravo babies are all next gen. So November 3rd, 2020, mark your calendar for the end of it all. No appointments after that. We're going home.
Sounds like a plan.
Then the only question I have for you, to make sure that you're on board, that your space jacket is tied, and that you are, after this, a part of our cult community for realsies. Do you believe in Brava?
I do believe in Brava. Thank you. Oh. God, you're just wonderful.
Oh my gosh, what a treat, right? Thank you all, Bravo babies, for joining. Bye.
Bye.